So I'm sitting in the press row in Cranberry as the Penguins take the ice to open training camp. This was late last week. And I kind of did like my own self-survey of the numerical roster to make sure that I had everyone lined up and knew, that Rutger McGroarty was wearing number 2 and there were a couple other players I was interested in. And guess what? I ended up not being able to take my eyes off somebody I never would have circled. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Before Jesse Puljujarvi scored all 3 goals of the Penguins' 7-3 loss to a mostly NHL lineup the Sabres put out there in Buffalo, I was really impressed with what I'd seen from him in just casual scrimmage work. He was all over the puck, and I shared this with you last week, but for anybody who missed it, a possession demon winning it wherever it was, pulling away from people once he did, making plays, and he's not exactly known as a great passer for his line mates, and occasionally getting off a really hard release shot. So it's funny as I'm watching some of this and noticing it, one of the thoughts that crosses my mind, cynical as I am, is that, okay, he's definitely not back-checking. This is going to be something where he sacrifices the defense. And then the next thing you know, he's back between the blue lines, helping out his D-men and turning the puck back into the attacking zone. Now, fast forward to Buffalo, and let me describe for you the way he scored his 3 goals, because that matters. First one was on a power play, and yes, it's still legal to score on power plays. Couple of really good passes kept the puck inside the zone. It came across to Ville Koivunen, kind of close to the top of the left circle. Koivunen, who's a reputed very good playmaker, a playmaking first type, has his chin up the whole way. He sees Puljujarvi over to the side, kind of to the left side of the net, snaps the puck right at Puljujarvi's blade. Puljujarvi gives it just the slightest touch to redirect it behind Buffalo's goaltender. Really, really nice. The kind of stuff that reminds you that this was a number 4 overall pick in the draft who's still trying to come back from a really rough injury. That double hip resurfacing procedure that he had is not something that many players have come back from. The list is less than 5. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline, your number 1 source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, second goal, some decent passing coming through the neutral zone. Puljujarvi collects the puck. I don't want to say it between the hashes. It was higher than that, but he just put that big frame into the wrister that resulted, and it's just a blur. And anybody who's been listening to this show for any amount of time knows I'm a big fan of the long-range wrister. Wish it would come back in hockey. So that's 2. Third one. Where did this even come from? But Puljujarvi skating up the right side of the neutral zone, almost against the boards. There's not 1, but 2 Buffalo players who have body position on him. He accelerates past them, but then continues his acceleration to cut violently to the inside. The move is so sharp and so unexpected that the goaltender barely budges, and he just tucks it on his backhand behind him. Without even really having to tuck it, he just kind of lets it glide off the backside of his blade. So afterward, in the locker room, he's asked by a reporter if that's a goal he would have scored or been able to score last year with the kind of physical shape that he was in, and just laughed and said no. When he was asked why, he said, there would have just been a lot of pain. That's a pretty good, honest reason. But he's out there now, pain-free, feeling like himself, And I know this from conversations I've had with him. Whatever doubts anyone might have had about his, it's too strong a term, but I'll just say it anyway, character or commitment to the game and whatever, that's gone. That's gone. He had hockey taken away from him. And now that he's back playing it, he wants it more than ever. That's not me saying that. That was him telling me that. So what he faces is what all of these forwards are facing. All 12 forwards vying for either 4 or 5 possible openings. And that's a whole lot of competition. He was asked about that in Buffalo as well.
So many good guys here finding the same spots. I know you have to just give every day your best. Be positive and be really disciplined every day. And you just need to trust yourself.
I'll tell you what, the Penguins don't exceed most people's expectations of their coming season without there being a surprise or 2 or 4 or 5. And there aren't many pleasant surprises that you could have that'd be better than a 6'4", physical, swift, skilled forward who'd be able to slide up and down all of your lines. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Michael, who says, DK, I'm excited to see Penguins hockey return soon. Could the space to acquire someone mean that the most exciting offseason development has yet to happen? I think I know where you're going with this, Michael, and I have a couple of responses to it. One, you referenced the space to acquire someone. And there really isn't any. Maybe you were thinking that because of all the rightful remarks that were made last week with Sidney Crosby's extension and about the sacrifice that he made, all the money that he left on the table, how the Penguins were willing to actually pay him more, and he said no. But the problem with that money is that it's been spent. According to the various websites that track the amount of cap space that NHL teams have, and within that, the amount that they have with their most realistic roster projection. In other words, if you have 50 people in camp, you're not counting 50 people. You're counting the most likely 23 that'll be part of your opening night roster. Well, the Penguins are at less than $1 million, and that's really just workable space. That's space that you need to manage your roster properly, to be able to move people up and down from the AHL. And let's bear in mind also the possibility of extensions, specifically the one that the Penguins really ought to be doing before this season with Marcus Pettersson. Now, that doesn't mean they won't save in other forms. That doesn't mean that they pay everybody at an NHL level. Obviously, they're not going to open up with 20-plus forwards. People are going to get cut, demoted, waived, whatever. But it still doesn't shape up as if there's going to be the kind of space that you apparently are dreaming of a little bit. 2, meaning the second thing that I have to share, they are not going to top Rutger McGroarty for an offseason acquisition. I'm sorry, they're just not. Even if Kyle Dubas were to somehow clear out some space and add another player in some form or move someone of prominence from here in some sort of pure hockey trade, getting a kid of McGroarty's age, he's 20 years old, who's seen universally as being capable of contributing at the NHL level in the coming season, that's everything you'd want as a fan of this franchise. That's everything that you'd want. The more of those types of deals Dubas can make, the healthier the present will be, the near-term future, and even the longer-term future. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everyone listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Going to do another one of these tomorrow.